This is dkdynamite, and today we have yet another unexpected video. Call of Duty Mobile Zombies is officially canceled. It'll be officially removed on March 25th, and here's the official statement from the studio behind Call of Duty Mobile. One of the most frequently asked questions to these updates is, what about Zombies mode? Today, after extensive evaluation, we are sharing that Zombies mode is being removed on March 25th. We had always mentioned it was limited time, but with no explicit end date. We wanted to see the reception, see the feedback, and see how we can potentially shape the mode for the future. However, the mode just didn't reach the level of quality that we desire. The second map, Nocturne and Toten, is also not releasing in the global version. We may bring the mode back with Nocturne and Toten once we make sure it is high enough quality, but for now, we'll focus on development for multiplayer, battle royale, and the ranked mode. So this is interesting because looking at Nocturne and Toten, right, I think it was almost 2 months ago when I posted the early gameplay of the map, there was a server where you were able to play the map early somehow, and it was just classic survival. There was no raid or Easter egg, I should say, in Nocturne and Toten, but gameplay came out of that, and I'm like, alright, well, since there's gameplay from this exclusive server or whatnot, maybe the map's coming out in like 2 to 3 weeks max. Months pass by and it's still not out, and I'm like, is this the next TranZit? Because we literally have seen gameplay of different sections of Green Run in COD Mobile, and to no avail, right? The map just never came out. Somehow, right, we saw gameplay of Green Run in COD Mobile before any other map, but then the game released with Shinonuma first, and I'm like, okay, they're kind of subverting expectations a little bit. We got Shinonuma first, we got the raid, the hard raid, and survival. Cool. Maybe a month after that we'll see Green Run. We didn't though, and it's like, alright, they released with a map that has been remastered a bunch of times. We've played it for over a decade now, and then didn't update it at all after that. On top of survival only lasting like what, a couple hours, and then it locks you out. It kind of ends your game after a couple hours because it doesn't want to overheat your device, which I understand. Stability for COD Mobile Zombies may not be the same case as the original Mobile Zombies app where you can literally play forever, pause it, save it. I get it. You know, the technology has changed, you know, things had to change as well. But looking at that, I'm like, wait a second. I also made a video, what was it, a couple weeks ago. It was actually a sponsored vid too, where I talk about new images that got data mined of Green Run, right? And I'm like, all right, well, these images are coming out. Trans is just around the corner. And then I see this announcement today. I'm like, what? They just canceled Zombies in COD Mobile. I don't understand that. So it's only in game for another, what, 25 days or so? Or was it 23 days, excuse me. And that's a bit unfortunate that it's going away. And Nocturne and Toten has released, but not for the global version. So limited amount of people can play it. And I'm like, okay, and they only release survival. There's also no raid for it. So a map that is like Shinonuma, we've been playing for a decade. We also can't play for more than a few hours because it'll lock you out. How on earth is that in any way bringing a high level of quality to the community? Obviously people are going to be upset about that, but as I've also said before with survival and COD Mobile Zombies, I understand being frustrated that you can't really get the high rounds on it. You're only limited to a couple of hours. I get that, but in reality too, if you really want to get the high rounds or play some real zombies, play it on a PC, play it on a console, enjoy it from there. It's obviously a mobile version, it can't be perfect, I get it, but in what way are they trying to bring out a high level of quality if they're releasing World at War Zombies maps? At least with Green Run or TranZit, right, that map has never been remade or remastered, unless you're talking about custom zombies on BO3. But that's a map that I'm sure would bring a lot of replayability because, again, it's a map that we've only played once, legitimately, right, in Black Ops 2 back in 2012. So bringing that to COD Mobile, I think, would have been great. So I'm curious now, how would the level of quality have been if COD Mobile released with Green Run straight away, then Shinonuma and Nocturne and Toten later? It's funny that we saw gameplay of Green Run first, then we had leaked images of Noct, then last we had leaked images of Shinonuma, but Shinonuma released first. And I'm like, okay, if you leave in just Shinonuma for, what was it been 4 or 5 months now? Of course you're not going to have a high player base on it. Of course you're not. But the juicy part of this is the truth. And the truth, I think, is the microtransactions that just didn't sell well for COD Mobile Zombies, right? It just wasn't generating enough revenue. It wasn't giving them a profit. So with that, it's like, okay, do you think people would have bought more microtransactions if it was for a map like Green Run and not Shinonuma or Noct? I'm just curious about that. Maybe it would have done better, but clearly looking at this statement, it's like, all right, I do think a lot of people played the COD Mobile Zombies. A lot of YouTubers covered it. The videos were banging. So it's not really the map. I think it's really just a microtransaction. So with that, it gets me really in my feelings about Black Ops 4. And I'm like, all right, this reminds me perfectly of the situation with the CGI cutscenes, right? For some reason, we got beautiful CGI for the Chaos maps, but for the end of an 11-year arc for Ether, we got cartoon cutscenes. They accomplished a lot, and the cutscenes were great. But looking at the reality here with business, it really seems like the truth is the negativity and toxicity with Black Ops 4 is what caused the budget to be cut in the first place. I've heard from very reputable sources and YouTubers that it wasn't just Call of Duty 2020 that caused Activision to cut the budget for Black Ops 4. It was also the negativity surrounding the game, on top of the microtransactions not selling well for the zombies mode specifically. So people weren't buying elixirs, they weren't paying for all these bundles in the laboratory, and that's pretty apparent. I also think the way they handle the laboratory in Black Ops 4 is almost counterproductive compared to the system we had in Black Ops 3. Well, Black Ops 3, it was a much simpler system to understand, and it seems like you were always getting something pretty good. But in Black Ops 4, the layout and the UI of it just wasn't really friendly, to the point where that probably cost them a lot of money in microtransactions, right? People just weren't paying for them. So because of all those things combined, budget got cut. So with COD Mobile here, it seems like because the microtransaction sales apparently were down for the zombies mode, that's a big reason that they cut the budget for this, which is pretty sad in my opinion, because I was looking forward to what they could do with this. Could they ever release a new zombies map for COD Mobile, right? Even if it was a small map, something new at least. Could they have done that? Or could they have just continued remastering or remaking previous zombies map, not canon to the Ether story, but continue doing that and also adding, new twists and turns to the map. Like Shinonuma, we had areas of Zetsubo featured on the map. We had a really cool Easter egg, some really innovative boss fights. We had the giant Cerberus dog, which is supposed to be in the TranZit Remake, along with the Avogadro and the giant butcher, and the Cerberus got put into the Battle Royale isolated. So it was cool that there's a lot of potential there, essentially to do what Blackout didn't do, which is incorporate more zombies mechanics and bosses and mystery boxes into the Battle Royale, tease what's coming in the zombies mode, and kind of go from there. Have a universal system of marketing and teasing and features. That's something that Black Ops 4 couldn't do past Operation Grand Heist or so because of the cut budget. So COD Mobile had the potential to do so much more with that, but unfortunately we just didn't get that. And I was also curious if eventually we would get, maps from Infinite Warfare, World War II, or Exo Zombies. Could we have saw those maps get remastered or remade in Call of Duty Mobile, right? Because eventually they would run out of Ether maps. There's only, 20-something Ether maps, so eventually they would run out of those. So what would they do next? The Chaos maps maybe? So there's a lot of potential there. They also released Nikolai, I think, in COD Mobile today as well, for those that enjoy the zombies mode. So it's weird, but I think looking at how TranZit hasn't released yet, I'm like, wait a second, is the map just scrapped now? Or, as I said in their statement, will they bring the mode back at some point and release Nocturne Totem globally, hopefully with a raid and a boss fight and a full-fledged Easter egg like Shinonuma, and maybe after that we get Green Run? Because I'm so confused as to how that makes sense financially. And I mean, this happens all the time in the gaming industry. Things get very close to completion and then boom, gets scrapped, and all that work goes down the drain or gets reused in some other aspect of another game, right? So maybe the factions of Green Run, or TranZit I should say, will get reused in the Battle Royale somehow. Maybe some of those areas will get added there. I'm not sure if that's possible, unless I know most of the areas are already in the isolated Battle Royale. We already have the cornfield, we already have the diner, so maybe they can put the labs or bus depot somewhere as well. I'm not too sure, but hopefully some of that gets reused, if not put into zombies at some point in the near future. But maybe if the outcry is large enough once zombies goes away, maybe they'll bring it back. But if not, that's a shame that we saw some really cool gameplay of the Avogadro, the Butcher, the Cerberus, all these really cool things and raids all over Green Run, just so that it doesn't release. And it's funny because I was most hyped for Green Run in COD Mobile out of everything else. I saw Shinonuma, I saw Nocturne, I'm like, alright, whatever, it's a World at War map. We've seen that for the past 11 years already. We've seen it in Black Ops 1, a little bit of Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3. We've seen it everywhere already. World at War maps have been played to death. They're great and all, they're nostalgic, but we've already played it. Green Run is an experience that we haven't played much of since Black Ops 2, unless you play Black Ops 3 Custom. So I was really looking forward to that, but unfortunately it just didn't come out. And here's also a tweet from the man himself, the Gaming Revolution. I think this really explains the BO4 Zombies' lack of a budget situation, to be honest. A lot of people say, well, they generated billions of microtransactions, so they clearly don't have a budget problem, but Activision won't put money into something that will be a loss and will increase their profits, even if their overall profits on the game are high, hence the cartoon cutscenes. So that explains why things were legitimately finished but have not come out. We have images and glitches in-game of Newton's cookbook popping right up. We have a game mode TCMs, also known as Trayer Custom Mutations. That was pretty much close to finished. That never came out. And so many other things as well that were clearly on their way to releasing but just didn't happen. And with the departure of Jason Blundell, who knows what the future is in terms of things like Newton's cookbook and other game modes, Grief, Turned. Who knows what the future holds for stuff like that in Call of Duty 2020. But leave all your thoughts down below in the comment section. Are you guys upset that Zombies is going away on March 25th for Call of Duty Mobile? Again, because Shinonuma's been the only map in the game, I can see why the player base might be down. I can see why microtransactions are low as hell. But if you released a fun COD Mobile Zombies experience, or at least a new experience of some sort, maybe those numbers would have been better. But I can definitely tell you the quality of COD Mobile Zombies is very solid. With a couple of tweaks to the actual gunplay, it would have been perfect. It was the ideal mobile version of Call of Duty Zombies, and I was a really big fan of it. I'm a fan of them taking, a pre-existing map and putting in their own twist and Easter egg in other areas. I'm a big fan of that, but leaving in Shinonuma for months without anything else is not going to help anybody. And even if Green Run was in the game from release and they kept that in for a couple of months with nothing else out, that probably would have led to the same problem with a low player base. So who knows what the future holds for Call of Duty Mobile Zombies. Leave all your thoughts down below. This has been DK Dynamite, and peace out, everyone.